But enough of that. AVID Investors, tonight we have first-rate property management here for the feature presentation. And Angiee Arriaga is the marketing manager. Yes, we just gave you a title. Marketing manager at First Rate Property Management. And she's going to let us know what's going in the rental market, what's going on, what we need to do to our own personal rentals, and how to succeed in a market that's not just automatically doing all the work for us anymore. Angiee, welcome to AVID Investors.
Yeah. I hope you guys are all having a good day during the heat. So today we will be, am I good right here?
You are, yes.
Okay. So today we will be going over the marketing trends in the rental market, as well as some advertising advice if you want to take it. So we'll go on to the next slide. So the rental market today, and reflecting on the rental market trends over the past 3 years, because that's all I can speak on, because that's how long I've been working here. It is evident that this year has presented a distinct shift. The pace at which units are being rented has noticeably slowed down compared to previous years, marking a notable departure from the established norms. The Treasure Valley is very saturated. As you can see here, we pulled Zillow. This was yesterday. Rental inventory in the Treasure Valley continues to grow steadily week after week, with a little over 1.7K listings now available on Zillow alone. And this doesn't include all the other places, HotPads, Facebook. Right?
What is the total number of rentals? So like, what's the vacancy rate based off that 17?
Those are all vacant.
30,000 rentals, and then 1,700 of them are vacant, or
1.7K are vacant. I'm sorry, I'm not sure if I'm answering you.
Sorry, I guess I don't know how many rentals the Treasure Valley has. Is it 50,000?
Oh, I'm not too sure. I know that we manage about 1,300. And out of those, right now we have about 120 that are vacant. So that's pretty high for us.
Sure.
Usually by around this time we have more around 80, maybe max. So we definitely are seeing a lot more. We also took on a lot of new units as well, which has also made a difference, but it's definitely been a different year.
Well, especially for July, because usually, yeah, like you said, usually
Yeah, and I will say July is kind of our more the month that we are the most vacant, just because we have all our BSU properties that we purposely put to end in July so we can rent them out for August. So that definitely adds quite a bit to it as well. But it's a lot. It's a lot all over. And despite the increasing supply, not to mention the level of activity, including inquiry, showings, and application, remains consistent, and there's not a lot going on. And we do offer free applications. We have a $0 deposit option. So we do quite a bit to get renters looking at our homes, but regardless, it's still been pretty slow compared to most years. What else is happening? It seems that everywhere you look, there is new construction. And that has definitely been a huge factor in the rental market, which also means that more renters are able to afford housing compared to the previous years when housing prices were at all-time high. So I feel like that has made a difference as well. Although there are a lot of people that now work remotely, there are a lot of people that had to return back into the office this past year, now that we're past the whole COVID thing, leading to less people moving out from out of state. So definitely this year, we track all of our applications to see where they're coming from, like what's going on. And there's not a lot of people moving from out of state anymore as compared to previous years. So according to the Idaho State Journal and the latest census, data shows after the height of the pandemic that growth has slowed down for many Idaho counties. So you've definitely seen that in the rental market as well. And while remote work has decreased, there has also been a rise in students opting for online classes due to cost effectiveness. At our BSU properties, we've seen a significant decrease in occupancy since COVID, likely influenced by the availability of online learning options. So definitely our BSU properties, a lot of people are also graduating, which is leaving kind of a wave of a lot of vacant units, and things are just not moving as fast as they used to out there. So that's definitely been a problem as well. And then, sorry, I'm getting myself confused. Renewals are also another factor. A lot of landlords are still renewing tenants at last year's market rent. And unfortunately for them, tenants have options. There's tons of options, as you can see on Zillow. And could possibly find more affordable rent, in a nicer home or area. We've tried not to raise rents if they're within like $100 of rental of the market rent, just to avoid turnover, which essentially costs more money. And I'm going to show you guys right now. So what does a vacancy cost? So on a 1,500 estimated rental property with a $1,250 per month principal, interest, taxes, insurance, mortgage, plus utility expenses, a vacancy can cost quite a bit. As you can see here, I'll give you guys a minute so you can read over it. And that is that we do pre-lease all of our units. So before the tenant, when the tenant gives us a 30-day notice is when we start advertising that unit. So even with that being said, we still, we're seeing quite a bit of properties still vacant past the 30 days of us pre-leasing, which is kind of rare because in previous years, people were fighting, bringing in deposits, and this year we're definitely not seeing that at all.
Hey,
So,
Tom, how's your vacancy near your BSU?
I have 8 units. And all but one renewed. And the
Okay,
one that didn't renew, I've rented it for about 10 days.
okay. And what
But
month
I
did you
kept the
rent? it?
rents very minimally increased,
Okay,
maybe $15 or $20 a month.
and then when did they move out? What month by BSU?
My tenant would move me out the end of this month.
Okay, so you were in that perfect timing too.
All of my rents were due, one in June, one in August, and the rest in July.
did everybody take a look at this? Are we good? Okay. What will a price adjustment cost? So on a 1,500 per month property, if we drop it 50, 100, 150, even 200, that's only $240, $2,400 a year, which opposed to you, just waiting longer, it's gonna cost you a lot more at the end of the day, if it's vacant. As you can see in the previous slide that we had.
Can you go back to that other
Yeah.
slide? So 200 a month is 2,400 a year. And yeah, okay.
So sometimes with these moving, well, I'll get to that slide. Does anybody else need to see that? Okay, let's go back. Okay, so with this being said, we have to get creative, right? We have to, what we personally do, I think I'm missing a slide for some reason, unless I'm going crazy. Okay, yeah, I think I'm missing a slide.
You passed one, you skipped one.
Oh, did I?
Drop it like it's hot one.
Oh, did I?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, there we go. So like Stacy said, drop it like it's hot. It's definitely so important to start off priced right.
Actually, it was Snoop Dogg that said that.
Yeah, with Snoop Dogg and Stacy, if they were taking ownership from now on. So we definitely want to price right the first time. Because the first couple days on Zillow, which is where we get most of our inquiries, are so important. And if they're sitting for 30, 45 days, it's gonna fall way below. And people can search on there by like the newest properties available. So we definitely want to start off good. If not, if you're not seeing action within like 2 weeks, you need to drop. That means you're probably not priced right. There's too much competition, whatever the case may be. Another thing is, when's the last time you inspected your property? I know if you self-manage, you probably look at it often, but for us, we have a ton of properties. So sometimes we have to physically go out there, look at them, see if like, hey, maybe this isn't as nice as we thought it was, or it's not matching the pictures, like something might not be matching up there. So it's important to inspect your property and see if maybe there's some minor upgrades you can do to make it better, whatever that may be. So another thing that we've been doing is move-in credits and move-in specials. So with the move-in credits, it's about $500 to $1,000 a month, just depending on the owner and what they're willing to credit. us personally, we've seen more of a difference in move-in specials. And with these ones, it's about $600 for the move-in specials, because we take $200 off the rented amount. So for example, for renting something for $15.95, we'll do $13.95 for the first 3 months. And then go ahead and raise the price to $15.95 after those 3 months are over. And with that, you're also kind of tricking Zillow, because you're able to show your property to more people. So, and $200 isn't too far out on that range that people might be looking for a home. So that's another little trick that we do. Also a lot of, oh, I'm sorry. Is somebody gonna say something? Okay. We also offer free months. So the first month is free, second month free, whatever they want to do. That's also something that we've been offering. And also just stepping up your marketing. Sometimes when you look at the pictures, if it looks like it was taken on a flip phone, you're gonna have less people wanting to go see it, just because they're gonna be like, what is this? So definitely, if you don't have good pictures, you don't need anything fancy. Use your iPhone, wide angle camera. If you have a light, use a light. That will definitely make a huge difference in your pictures, compared to some people on Zillow that have like professional pictures or anything like that taken on there. Yes.
I've got a couple questions. So about a year ago, how long was it? What average days on market for an available rental? About how long did you need to advertise before you found a qualified applicant? And then how does that compare to now?
So in previous years, it was about 15 to 20 days, and that's how we pre-lease. So there was somebody already signed a lease before the other tenant even moved out.
Okay.
Now we're seeing about 45 days. So, and that's with us pre-leasing. So 30 days of it being rented, and then sometimes 2 weeks, 3 weeks out after that. So it's definitely shifted quite a bit.
And then you were talking about all these different things right here.
Mhm.
Did you say that you get the most traction on the move-in special strategy?
Yes.
Okay.
And that's because we're, advertising less on Zillow. So, people are looking, under 1,500 or under 1,400. So we're popping up in there, even though we're technically not under that amount, but we are for the first 3 months. So,
And that's a key
Kind of a
point,
hack.
what she's saying here, guys. This is like a true pro tip. And this could change. I'm not sure. There's a lot going on in the news we'll have to talk about, but if you are advertising on Zillow, where you said you get most of your applicants.
yes.
And you have a move-in special, say it's $300 off the first 2 or 3 months rent. If your rent is $1,500, what you can do is advertise it at $1,200 a month. And then in the big bold, not tiny fine print, you say, this is a move-in special, 300 off your month, your rent. It's $1,500 starting in 3 months. So it's drawing their eyes to your ad, because it looks like a house that's worth more than 1,200. And they're landing. Pro tip. That's a good one, Angie.
Yeah, that's honestly our best one. Like, this is the one, because we can't really advertise a free month on Zillow. We can't, we could put $500 move-in credit, but it's not gonna change anything in the search results when they're looking for their future home. So that's it on that one. Does anybody else have any questions? Okay, so just some a few marketing tips and tricks for you guys. Is one thing is knowing your audience. So, we got the Gen Z, the millennials, Gen X, students, singles, young families, retirees, whatever the case may be, you want to be advertising towards, due to fair housing, we can't advertise to certain ones, but certain tactics will, draw either one of their attention. So for example, Gen Z, we've been using TikTok, which I know people think it's silly. However, we get tons of traction on TikTok. We do walkthrough videos, voiceovers, everything like that. We get, let's see, what is it? About 12% of our inquiries come from Google, and the other 12% come from social media. So social media is ranking up pretty high with Google. So it's definitely working. So we keep doing it. Millennials, they love Facebook Marketplace. If you do have a business page on Facebook, however, you are going to get blocked from posting on there. So if you have a personal page that you're able to work off of, which we do, We get quite a bit of Facebook inquiries as well. I will say the inquiries aren't as great as opposed to Zillow. However, we do get some on there, so we still have to follow up and everything like that. Gen X, I think they're still pretty good on Zillow and everything like that. And students, I would categorize in Gen Z. And the rest of them, it just depends on who, you're marketing towards, but we definitely have different ones for each one of those categories. Not specifically to get somebody in a certain home, but just so we can reach more of an audience.
How many folks here are listing their rentals on social media? 1, 2. Nope,
It's still not social media.
nope,
What do I know?
1. Rich, you on social? Oh, no. 2, Dave. Zilla. Okay, and then, do you guys do TikTok? Do you do a video tour? Like, do you do a video tour? Okay, so the video tour automatically turns into a reel, right?
Yeah, so you have to do them differently, but for example, you can see here, this is our TikTok. Followers don't really matter on TikTok, gonna be honest with you guys. However, the views do, like this one got 700 plus views, this one got over 1,000. And a lot of our videos are quite high up there. And you would be surprised how many people actually call us because they saw our TikTok video or Instagram reel, Facebook reel, which is all kind of the same. And they're all just like little videos of me walking through, letting them know like, okay, here's the kitchen, here's the living room. So people feel like apart from, us having virtual tours, they kind of feel like more of an in-person per se, like experience. So it's definitely putting kind of a face behind the name, which I think a lot of people love.
Does it matter how long they are?
On TikTok, they do up to 3 minutes.
Okay.
However, since we're a business page, we're limited to 1 minute and 30 seconds.
Okay, and then how do they find you if it's not by following you?
So on these, it's just like Facebook and Instagram, you can do hashtags. So you can do like hashtag Boise rentals. You don't want to generalize it just to, rentals, hashtag rentals, because it's going to show up in everybody's feed. Not only that, but TikTok specifically has a For You page. So a lot of people are finding them just because you are located in Boise and they're located in Boise. So TikTok knows that this is nearby to them, or if they've been looking up other home improvements or anything like that, it's going to automatically show that video to them. So
It doesn't matter. Is it better if you're narrating or is it better if you throw music behind it?
I say it's so hit and miss. I usually narrate it and then still have a trending sound in the background, which the trending sounds are going to be really important because it's also boost your video as well. And they have trending sounds on TikTok and on Instagram and Facebook Reels. If you do use Instagram and Facebook Reels, the trending sound will have like an upwards arrow. So you'll be able to know which one it is. And on TikTok, it's a little bit harder to find the trending audio, but usually you just have to be on it quite often. So a lot of people will be like, Angie, what are you doing in your office? I'm like, I'm looking at TikTok, so I'm trying to get a video sound. So usually that's what I'm doing is getting a trending sound to put on one of my videos.
So you don't have, you don't edit it anywhere else. Do you edit it on TikTok?
You can edit straight on TikTok, Instagram, or Facebook. But personally, I just use iMovie just because I like to make mine a little more fancy than but it's honestly pretty easy. You can do it straight on the app. So it works. I think so.
So you always do videos instead of just still pictures?
Yes, still pictures don't work very well on the reels. If you do still pictures, it's actually going to rank you lower. So definitely having a video, if you're able to show a face once in a while, that also helps because they have like some fancy, yeah, where they're able to notice that it's a face and they'll boost your video even higher because they're seeing a face first. We even have our office dog in there. So we throw in a bunch of random videos as well, just to give a little more personality, just, so people just know that there is, real people working behind our computers. So that definitely helps us a lot.
And so when you make it an iMovie, you can then put it on Insta and TikTok and Facebook.
Yeah. Or you can edit it straight on Instagram. If you do it on Instagram, you could just save the video and then you could upload it to Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook. So you don't have to do like triple the work. You just do it one time.
But you're using iMovie.
Yeah, I use iMovie because I like to add like the lettering and the fancy transitions and all that stuff. I would put one on there for you
But
guys.
then you can still do trending sound.
Yes,
So
yeah.
you just add the trending sound on Insta.
Mhm.
And so you use iMovie. And then you do the fancy transitions, and then you add the trending sound, so you don't put music behind it until you get to Insta, then you add the trending sound, and then from Insta, you add it to Facebook and TikTok.
Yes, but so you'll have to upload it separately. Sorry. Okay, so if you're on Facebook and Instagram are gonna be the same. They're owned by Meta. So if you can even schedule these, and that's what I do. I schedule 30 days in advance all my content for them. So for example, if I want to post this video, I could post it on Facebook and just share it to Instagram or vice versa, Instagram and Facebook. However, TikTok is separate. So you will have to come in here and upload it. There's no way of automatically doing it or connecting with Facebook and Instagram.
So then
just a heads up.
sound again, you add the music again.
Yes, and each app is gonna have a different trending sound,
Mhm.
which you can't download videos if they have a trending sound anyways. Because a lot of times it's like copyrighted or whatever it is, so. If you just upload like a blank video with just the voiceover and then add the sound later, that's gonna be the best option, in my opinion. Missing stuff. Go ahead.
So where does for rent by owner sign in the front yard fit in with?
For sure, I mean, it's definitely, we still have signs out, that's definitely not something that we ever stop doing. However, this is going back to targeting those millennials, Gen Z and everything like that, because they are on these apps and they spend a lot of time on there, so. Most likely your renters are gonna be the younger crowd, because it's really expensive to afford a house nowadays, so. Definitely, that's how we're targeting them. Yes.
Got a few folks, last year, I renewed them at the same rate. But now I feel like I need to do some type of increase.
Okay,
Where are you seeing people like make the decision to move? Like, is it above $50 a month on the increase, or is it, you need to keep it so they stay?
I don't know, which is with the young folks.
Well, I can see why it's $300.
2000, I'm sorry.
No, that's great, Rich, yeah, that's great.
Personally, we don't go over 100, just because unless they're severely under market rent, like if they rent, but most of the time, a lot of these folks that are renting with us, they're on their second, third, fourth renewal. So usually we're keeping it the same unless we see, we do some comps and see, are they like, like $400 below market? If so, then, we would probably meet in the middle, maybe 200. But at the same time, a turnover and everything like that might cost you more at the end of the day than just keeping the rent the same. So it's kind of just depends on your situation and what you're looking for. I personally don't think $50 is a lot. However, it's in everybody's budget is different. Especially when there is so many options.
So if you're thinking $20-$30, you might as well just forget it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, does that still
I think
apply? Because
Yeah,
First Street does really good at keeping their rents up at market. You're not like pushing market to the max, but you're doing a good job trying to stay in the range of market. And that's kind of your job for your owners.
Mhm.
But when we have self-managers, they also recognize they're saving money on property management. And so sometimes they share that savings with their tenants. And then sometimes they fall behind.
Gotcha.
And so what about that? Like if they're $200 below market, but they don't want to inspire a vacancy, what should they do?
So I would probably look first, is it a good renter? Have they paid rent on time? Do they have it? Well, I don't know if you guys do lease violations, but have you had any issues with them? If it really is a good renter and they're paying their rent on time, is it worth, charging them an extra $50 a month and then having to go through all the fees and everything like that? However, if you have probably not a great renter, doesn't pay on time, everything like that, maybe it's worth getting a new renter in there. And if give them $150 increase on their rent and see what happens. If are they willing to stay, or are they not? At that point, if they can barely afford, paying rent on time with what you have now and you're gonna give them $150 increase, it's probably not gonna go so well, so.
And so I guess in the past year, we've been saying that you should really try to keep up with your rents. And it sounds to me like now isn't the time to catch up. Bodie, what were you going to say? You had a thought, didn't you?
It was a separate question on application question, but we can finish up this part of it.
So it's a tricky tightrope, I guess. You were thinking maybe you needed encouragement.
Yeah, I've got somebody who's been with me for 7 years, and she's like $500 September market. And that's a lot,
Yeah,
but I never have problems with it, ever. So, I did talk to her recently, and they're thinking about maybe buying something, so. When they do leave, then I'll jump it up.
because Angie, I can't help but think in that particular situation where she's 500 behind, I can't help but think maybe putting yourself on a regimen with a $50 a year increase until they move out is worthwhile. You know, you don't want to induce them to move out, and you don't want to do a slap in the face, but technically a $100 increase is warranted. But you know why you don't want to, I just don't know that it seems like it's time to raise your rent. You told me that. So now I'm telling you that back.
Yeah, my opinion, if it's $500, we would probably give them about $250 increase if they're that below market.
But that's now we're close to that $300 amount that Rich's bud had, and that's gonna induce the move out. And so maybe that's where $50 to $100, and then do it again next year. One of the things that First Rate's done with their leases is done an auto renewal, where the lease auto renews, and so your autopilot, if you go on autopilot as an owner manager, it includes a 6 or 7% increase a year. And so when they do move out, why don't you put that in there? Because you can always get that money back and see it coming in a market like this and go, hey, actually, guess what? You guys are awesome. We're gonna just cut out this little rental increase because you've gotten them there, but at least that way you can fall so far behind.
When you guys had folks that answered no, to, like the smoking question, and then you find out that they are smokers,
Yeah.
and they're probably not smoking inside their place, but they're smoking outside. How do you handle that situation? At this point, you know, it's been a month or two since they've moved in.
Gotcha.
And honestly, I don't care if they answer yes, I just want them to smoke outside of their place. But it's they're lying, so it bothers me.
Gotcha. For sure.
How do you handle that?
Do they like leave like cigarette butts and everything all over the property, or do they clean up after
A
themselves?
lot of ashes in different places, some
Okay.
cigarette butts, but
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah, at that point, we'd probably just send a warning, like a friendly warning, just letting them know, hey, as a reminder, you know, there's supposed to be no smoking. We noticed that there was some ashes, cigarette butts that we noticed, and we just want to make sure that you aren't smoking in our units, because that is a problem for us. So if you have any questions, feel free to reach out. I would just be really friendly, and you don't want to,
Right.
you know, hit them with something like a $35 violation right away or something like that. But personally, we would also go with the warning first and let them know that, hey, maybe next time we're gonna have to charge you, or this is gonna cost you at your turnout, depending on your contract. I'm not sure what you have in there.
Right, so you've probably never gone to that length of just saying, hey, you know, you're violating your lease because you lied on the application.
Not for lying, but we definitely hit them with a lot of violations,
Okay,
if applicable. Yeah.
nice.
If we give them a warning and they don't listen, they will be hit with multiple violations, and each one is a charge. So usually after, you know, the first charge, they're probably not going to do it again unless they're kind of one of those tenants that don't care, then they're going to keep getting hit with that, which, you know, it's not that often for how many properties that we do manage. We don't have too many like that apples in that bunch, just a couple.
And now you're probably gonna do your walkthrough sooner to make sure they're not smoking at the unit.
Yeah.
You know, it's almost as bad sometimes, they just step out of the patio.
Just goes right in.
This-
Mhm.
It traps the smoke.
For sure. I'm sorry.
No, Angie, this is quite interesting. I thought it was really kind of with it, that it was on Facebook.
Okay. Awesome.
No,
I love it.
So, I had an idea, I wonder, what ages use TikTok?
TikTok is gonna be the younger crowd, so between 16, I would say up to maybe like 35.
35, no kidding.
Yeah, even 35 is still hitting that age. I know my mom and dad, like, once they got on it, they loved it. So once once it gets on your kind of, it starts to make the videos towards like what your interests are. So for example, if you work on old cars, and this has become almost like a search engine on TikTok. So there's like a search button down here where you can put like working on cars or whatever, and it's gonna show up all the videos on there of people working on cars. So it's almost like YouTube nowadays, where you can, search something up and you're gonna be able to find it. But people's attention span is so much better on TikTok just because they are short videos. You're not going through, I know you probably searched up YouTube videos on, how to grill, and there's this guy talking for like 20 minutes before he actually starts grilling. So on these ones, they don't have that much time to talk, so they kind of have to get with it pretty quickly. So I think a lot of people are really loving that about TikTok.
Is there a lot of how-to?
Yes, there is a ton of how-tos. It's kind of crazy. It's become something so big. It started off kind of as a kids like dancing app, and I think all the adults kind of took over it. And there's how-to videos, there's real estate tours, gardening videos, cooking videos, literally anything and everything you want to find it on TikTok, just like YouTube nowadays.
I just had an idea, I don't have an Angiee to work for me, but, I was wondering if I could go to high school and maybe offer to pay a kid $100.
Be careful with that.
Yeah.
Be careful.
Oh, no, you can't get into a high school. But, that's the thing, high security, but, maybe they haven't had.
For sure.
Deliver to the office, but, might that work? I mean, some kid is in the drama department or something.
Yeah, for sure.
Because then they can send me
The video.
video, right, and I could put it, find out how to do a TikTok.
Yeah, for sure. Nowadays, there's also something called Upwork, where a lot of freelancers are on. So like for example, when I freelance and everything like that, I do go on Upwork, put on there like what I can do, what I want to do, and then have a price on there. You pay like $30 a video, $10 a video, whatever that person wants. Probably for something like this, you probably would want to find somebody that's local to the area.
Right.
But even on like Facebook, I think you can put on there like searching for somebody that can get some videos for me or whatever it is. Like I can give you $20 a video, whatever it's worth to you. But yeah, that would be my best suggestion for that. But yeah, no problem. Does anybody else have any other questions?
Wow, this is like a media class.
Kind of. Honestly, when my boss Jim, Melissa, like at first they were like, what is this? And I had to kind of convince them on what it is, because they are a little bit older than me, so they weren't really with all this. But once we got on it, they really like it, and they love the videos. They watch them themselves, and their kids watch our videos. So and also when you have people sharing your content, that's when it really gets out there. So I don't know if you have friends or family, have them share your video, and definitely boosts and goes a lot further. Also, if you self-manage, there is a lot of Facebook groups where you can join, that you can post your homes and everything like that in there. I would recommend that if you self-manage. We can't really do that because we get kicked out right away. People don't like big companies in there, but if you do have a smaller one, I would suggest getting on a Facebook group and going from there. Yeah.
Would you explain how your $0 app and $0 deposit
Yes.
thing?
Yeah, so with the $0 deposit option, we do charge 3% of the rent amount. So that kind of just lowers the entry for people to get in there. So they're still going to be paying a fee, but they won't get a refund on that fee. So we're keeping that fee, which at the end of the day, it pretty much will equal the deposit. So if they send like a 12-month lease, it's going to equal the deposit, and it's a fee that we get to keep, and hopefully they don't ruin the property. And then, it's all fine. But if they do, we still are going to charge them an extra $800,000 $2,000, whatever damage is done
Sure.
in the property to them.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
So if rent's $1,000 a month,
Mhm,
you're charging 3%, so you, at the end of the year, you get $360.
mhm.
That's gonna cover their app fee. And then how do you do the deposit? Did I not?
No, that would be
Understand that?
that'd be the deposit.
Oh.
Yeah, so that's
Just wanna
only
make
for
sure I
the,
understood.
no, that's gonna be for the deposit only, the easy entry fee. So that's what we would do for that.
So it's only $360 for a deposit then by the end of the first year, $1,000 rent a month,
yes,
so you're only collecting 360.
yes,
Okay,
but
I wanna make sure I understood.
I don't know if I'm like explaining that correctly, because that sounds weird. That sounds off now.
It
Because
sounds-
it would, that should equal like the rent amount or
Oh,
the rent amount at the end of the year. So maybe I'm giving you the wrong percent.
so.
I apologize, it's new to me.
Or something.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay.
Sorry about that. I don't know the exact answer for that,
That's a
but
great strategy from what you just, I mean, if I understood it right.
yeah, a lot of people use it
Yeah.
and it really works. We haven't really had too many issues with that.
Do you also increase the monthly rent then?
Well, with that percentage, sorry, I might be wrong on the 3%, but with that percentage, it gets added to the rent amount. So they're paying that extra fee, which a lot of people rather pay that fee in their rent than paying like $2,000 up front for a deposit. So
So do they still have to qualify at the higher monthly rent amount, like, you know, if they're paying 3%, $1,090 a month now.
no,
is
It would
still 3 times rent, or, I don't know.
yeah, we did 2.5 times. So
Okay,
so they would still have to qualify, but with the regular rent amount, because we don't consider that rent. It's considered a fee.
oh, okay.
Yeah, so that way we don't have to give it back at the end of the year. It's a fee that we keep, the owners keep. So that's what we do with that, and with our free applications. It's also a way for us to avoid a lot of the city fees, or I'm sorry, the city laws. It's kind of like a little way around it, because there's a lot of things I believe we don't have to follow because we do offer a free application. However, we still have to follow all fair housing laws and everything like that. But
And so I think what Angie's saying is since they capped application fees, they actually eliminated application fees and then instead have built that in elsewhere. And so that way, folks who are qualified are just renting, and then they're carrying the weight of folks who don't qualify in a way, because I think, don't you keep a percentage, a portion of their security deposit at the end or something like that?
for the application.
Yeah,
So we, for example, if a property is $1,595, $1,395 of that is gonna be their deposit, and the $200 is gonna be an admin fee. So, but it's not an application fee, because their application is still free. However, if they are qualified and everything like that, we keep the $200, owner does, so.
So they pay the application fee after they're approved then?
out of their security deposit as a non-refundable
Oh,
portion of
okay.
their security deposit. Yes, exactly. And so only the folks who are approved end up paying fee. There's no application fee, but that expense has to get covered somewhere. And so the folks who actually rent it, they don't get 200 back. And everybody who applies for free.
You guys are covering the cost of the background check then.
Yeah.
How much?
Upfront, but then they're getting it back at the end.
Just, but that, they're covering for everybody that
Yes.
applied for with $200.
Mhm.
How do they get it back? Now, how does that work again? How do they get it back?
A portion of the security deposit is automatically non-refundable as an admin fee.
Right, that's the non-refundable part.
Mhm. So if background checks cost $50, 1 out of 4. And if 1 out of 4 applicants gets approved, then that's a break-even point.
Do you know what percent are rejected from the application process?
I don't know like an exact percentage. We try our best to get them approved, and we also have like options like a co-signer. Some owners will allow us to do a double deposit. So we try everything we can to get them in there. Sometimes just getting an application on a property is difficult on itself. And for fair housing laws, we have to follow them, and we can't really like pick and choose who goes in there. But we do have to provide all the options available to them.
So the 3% deposit that you're building up, that's only for the first year? Or continue on?
That continues for until, if they can come in at any point. So for example, what I tell people all the time is go ahead. Do the easy entry fee for the first 2 to 3 months until you get your deposit back from your previous landlord. And then you come in, pay the deposit off, because if you come and pay it off, we'll take the fee off for you. So that's what a lot of people do, just to reduce that huge amount up front, because you're paying prorated rent, you're paying the deposit. In some cases, you're paying, you know, the first and last month's rent as well. So it kind of just depends on, you know, how you're running your business, but that's kind of how we make it a little bit easier for our tenants to get into our units. So we have a lot of options and we're still struggling. So yeah, it's been a different year for sure.
Simple solution, you don't gotta worry about all this media stuff, you don't have to worry about it, you just hire a first rate manager.
Sure, we do this all for you.
That's what charity does, you guys. Yeah.
Yeah. I,
What's your footprint? Where do you guys like to manage?
what was that?
Where do you guys like to manage in the Treasure Valley?
Right now we manage pretty much all over. We have Boise is pretty much our main one. We've recently taken over Star. We have quite a bit of properties in Star now. We have a few in Caldwell, not too many. Nampa, we've gone quite a bit in Nampa, Meridian, Kuna, Eagle. We pretty much everywhere in the Treasure Valley. It just kind of depends on. Oh, we have some in Hidden Springs now as well, which is a little out there, but we're like, you know, if we're gonna be driving 40 minutes to Caldwell, we can drive 40 minutes to Hidden Springs. So, yeah. Anybody else have any other questions?
The management fee is what?
I'm not too sure. I don't handle any of that, but if you want our information, I'm happy to give it to you. And they can give you some more information. Yeah, we are all like departmentalized. So, you know, leasing is their own department, maintenance is their own department. I have my own department myself. So I do my own thing. We have like our admins that, you know, handle all of that, owner intake and everything like that. So it's really nice because you're getting an expert in each field, instead of one person doing it all. And just,
We can
be good at
usually get for a single family or a duplex, I think we can get an 8% rate for our clients or you. I think technically, I'm not sure if it's 10%. But I think we can still get the 8%. And then if it's more than 2 units, then you would maybe try to negotiate a little bit.
8% gross rent, and then
Yes.
but you have to take all the maintenance costs. They're separate,
Correct.
you get out of pocket and stuff.
Yeah, and I don't think when you have a plumber come, do you know if first rate exercises adding 10% on top of that?
I don't think so. I think we have like our preferred vendors and that's who they go through, but
Yeah.
honestly, anything maintenance, I'm like, I really don't know. I can't speak on.
Yeah, Tom, I don't think they do. But again, I don't work for first rate, but I've seen their workings and we do refer some folks to them, or we do refer many folks to them. And I don't think they charge on top of the plumber. So they get the plumber call late night. You know, now they're not calling so-and-so's brother to plumb, they're only using licensed bonded and insured vendors. And then they're just directly giving me that expense. That's it.
So how do you do showings?
Showing.
Box on the door, or are you
No.
personally doing showings?
We personally do showings for everyone that calls and wants to do a showing, regardless if they have an application or not, we still go and show it. Right now, we have 3 leasing agents, 4 in the summertime that, you know, kind of flex, or if any of us need to go out there and show a property, we're going to show it because we have a duty to our owners to get things rented. So one, with the lockbox, it's not very personable and, you know, we don't like that. And 2, you know, they're in your unit, just doing whatever they want.
You show it before you qualify it?
Mm-hmm. Everything.
Is that a fair housing fee?
No, I don't think so.
I didn't know.
I'm not too sure. No, I don't think it is. It's just what we do. I'm sorry, what was your question?
Well, I can't imagine that myself, because I manage my property and I would never show the property unless I'm willing to rent it. I
Yeah,
don't want to inconvenience my tenant.
yes, we limit it to,
I'm saying, you don't think that way.
yeah, well, we limit it to 2 showings a week. And they get a 24 hours notice letting us know like, hey, we're gonna go in there with, a tenant, a potential new tenant. And it's in their lease that they signed for that, they're allowing us to
So
do.
what percentage of the time you show it, if you haven't qualified, is that they aren't qualified?
It's hard to say, but a lot of people, it's just like, buying stuff online. If you don't get to touch it, feel it, they're not gonna want to apply for it, regardless if there is a free application, it's taking time of their day to go ahead and fill it out. So, if we're not even giving them the option to see it before, doing their application, everything like that.
In another world.
No, and I totally understand, like, yeah, as a tenant, I can see how that could be inconvenient. However, we do try to limit it to 2 times a week, and they have a heads up knowing that, we're coming in, so it's just something that they signed for.
Well, also, I've seen that the way your company works, if a tenant says, wow, that's a really bad time for me, the baby's sleeping, I'm in work meetings, like, First Rate accommodates that. And so they do work with their tenants on the 2 times a week showing times, and if there's a complaint, they try to.
But in my last apartment, I think I had eight responses from Zillow, and they say, we want a tour. I can't imagine showing it 8 times without knowing if the person is qualified. I don't want to get up and go 8 times to somebody that can't make the rates. And so often I found, oh, I'm qualified, but I do it over the phone qualified. Do you really make 3 times your rent? Do you really have good credit? And of course, well, no, that's what I put in my application with Zillow.
Gotcha. Well, I think, I think that is a fair housing thing. We have to show it. We can't ask those qualifying questions over the phone. They need to apply and we need to see their income. Like, we can't we can't ask those questions over the phone.
I think probably what he's saying is he goes over his requirements over the phone.
I do.
He's not asking them the questions, he's stating what his rent requirements are, I think.
Gotcha.
Criteria.
Yeah.
It's just a teenager question. You have good credit, 3 times your rent, you have good employment. So when you tell me that, I either believe or I don't. Can I believe them if they say yes? But if I want a piece of paper, I'm not believing it.
Gotcha. I think that would be a big deterrent if we ask those questions. And we, at the end of the day, we do have an owner or a duty to our owners to show it
Okay,
because it needs to get rented. So
so I have a different whole philosophy, and hopefully I'm doing it legally, but
gotcha.
I can't imagine doing it legally to do it.
Gotcha. We
All I'm
just,
saying.
yeah.
I'm saying it. Well,
yeah.
I can't imagine doing it.
Gotcha, yeah, and we do have a lot of employees that are able to go out there. Yeah, we have a lot. Sorry, I have a little tickle in my throat.
Thank
And no problem. Is there any other questions?
This has been great info. Really appreciate going over all that information.
Yeah, no problem. And I'm sorry if I was a little nervous or talking too fast. This is my first time doing it. I'm sorry, guys.
You were very cool under fire.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
For ESA,
Yes.
do you check that, do you verify that to make sure it's a current year and you?
Yes, we do. We check if it's a current year. They do have to, there's like a template that the not fair housing. What is it called? I can't even think of it. I've been out of leasing for a year. What was that?
88.
No, it's with the, I can't even think of it. I think it's like fair housing, like the section where it's like disability service animals ESAs. Well, there's a section there that has like a letter, an example letter. So we look, does it have the date? Does it have the doctor's signature? Before we would really get into it and be like, well, this looks fake because there's tons and tons of fake ESA websites now, but it's a fair housing thing where they can come back and like possibly sue us and things like that. So we try not to get too into the letter. If it has what it needs to have, we have to move forward and approve it because just getting into all of that is just not fun.
Is that contained then?
Yeah.
And we'll-
Yeah,
Emotional
guys-
support.
Do you guys verify vaccinations of all?
yes. They still have to have their vaccination, their rabies vaccination. So we do look at that. Most of the time they do have it. And then they also have to have, if it's a dog, it has to have a city license. So we do look at that as well.
I've got the question. Hello, I have a pit bull and a German shepherd, and they're both service animals. No, one was a PSA, one was a service animal. How does that work if like the city has, prohibits like pit bulls? I don't know if there's a city in Idaho that does, but I've gotten this question before, and I just was wondering about that.
Gotcha. As of right now, I don't believe we've run into that problem because I don't think it's illegal to have them. I just remembered it's HUD. We don't want to
HUD.
get in trouble with HUD.
There it is.
So HUD, we don't want to get in trouble with HUD. They are very strict and really with it. So,
Okay.
anyways, going back to your question. As of right now, there is no limitations on pets other than you can only have 4 per unit. So if they rent it, there's only 4, and that's like a city thing. You can look at Google that one. So if they have more than that, you could tell them no.
So if you have a list of aggressive breeds in your lease that you don't allow, but if one of those dogs is a pit bull or German shepherd and it's an ESA, then you just allow it?
We have to.
Okay.
Yeah, we have to for like per HUD.
Yeah.
We have no choice on that.
Okay.
If it is an aggressive breed, we are probably one of the very few property managers that do allow aggressive breeds with a higher liability insurance. So I think that also sets us apart because we are allowing these dogs, because a lot of times they're gonna just have them in there anyways. So
Yeah.
with or without our permission. So we rather collect that fee for the owner than to finding them like towards the end of their lease. So we're not gonna get much out of that.
And the fee would just be an increased deposit, is that what you're saying?
We do a fee of $400. And for higher liability, it's 500. And it's a fee, it's not a deposit. They won't be getting that amount back.
You take out the insurance?
No, they have to take out the insurance and provide us with a copy of it.
And then, like, if the aggressive dog bites the tent resident next door, then who's liable for that?
It'd be the tenant, and then they would have that higher liability insurance that will
Because the owner
include all that.
done everything that
Mhm.
they're supposed to do.
Yeah, I think it's up to like $100,000 that they have to do minimum
Oh, okay.
in order for us to be able to take it.
And if your dog's a barker and your neighbor next, or the tenant next door moves because of it, what recourse do you have?
If a lot of times, like, we will get those complaints into us, so they'll be like, hey, my dog is barking a lot, my neighbor's dog is. So at that point, we would issue a lease warning. So we'll give them a warning, these are quiet hours, or this was in your lease to have your dog barking, so many times a day. That's an option. After that, it is a lease violation, so they will start getting charged for that. We've never had to get to a point, but we can remove the animal from the unit or maybe a joint mutual release. We'll have to do something to be able to stop that issue, but we haven't really had that problem.
And do you have any no pets policy for any of the units?
Some owners do choose to do no pets. However, if it is a ESA, an emotional support animal, we have to allow it regardless. So we always tell our owners, like, you can either, they can come in as an emotional support animal and you're going to miss out on those fees, or you could just let them, because they're probably going to make it an ESA regardless. And then at least you'll be collecting those fees. And it's also an additional $50 in rent if they have a pet for each one.
I don't mean to be making this go on and on, but the best thing is really easy for me. I never had a cat where they didn't cause me to be placed on the car.
Yes.
What's your experience with cat on a $400 deposit?
So since it is a fee, like, the owner's collecting that, and that they will get charged at the end, when they have a turnover, like, they are gonna be charged for the replacement of the carpet because of the cat. So they're gonna get charged for it on top of their deposit if it doesn't cover it. So, yeah.
Well, and I also heard a key word in there, Tom, that really jumped out to me. Did you just say $400 deposit?
No, I.
Oh.
On a fee.
Okay, because hopefully you've got a
Yeah,
security
no, I
deposit as well.
Yeah, no, cats could be awful sometimes. I know I had my cat and I ruined the carpet as well. So
You require vendor's insurance, but final tenant?
So we actually have something called our RPP, which is a resident protection package, that it's included in there, and they get a few other perks in there as well, and that's a $35 fee. Sorry, $40 fee, $35 if they don't have an air filter, because we deliver those bi-monthly as well.
Okay, and that just added on to rent
Mhm.
for a month. Yeah, for self-managers, is there a place where we can go to kind of research a program like that? I mean, if we don't have $1,000.
Gotcha. I know that we use Sylvester is gonna be ours, and then the rest of it's kind of our own thing, like we made it up and we had like PestCom in there, so for example, if they ever need they ever have like ants in their kitchen, which is super common in a lot of units to have that in the summertime, they could just call PestCom and it's already included in their monthly fee, so they can call them whenever and they'll come out there and spray for them. So
You said Sylvester?
Sylvester and PestCom.
I think you got
And
all,
our pet
all that
policy.
spelled out in your lease, don't you?
Yes,
And that lease is about how many pages?
16 pages.
How many?
16.
16, okay.
Yes, very long, very lengthy, but it does have everything in there to cover our owners who we have a duty for, ourselves, and also the tenants. There's a lot of things in there where either they could be like, hey, well, this isn't in my lease, like this is what this is. We're like, oh yeah, that's right. So it's, you know, it's the best solution for everybody involved.
The one I got from Tony is 24 pages, so you guys.
Oh wow. Yeah, that's kind of it.
They made the pot smaller.
Oh, if you have one more slide for you guys, if there
Is
is,
this your summary?
this is my summary. Are you gonna be in it?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I love being part of the summaries.
All
You
right.
guys, thank you for all of the questions and the engagement. We have Angie here with First Rate Property Management. She is the marketing manager here. And Angie, tell us if we were gonna remember one thing from this meeting, or maybe 5 things, what would those
Gotcha.
be?
The 5 things I recommend for you guys to remember is to inspect your units, go in there, check them out, see if there's anything that you as a potential renter would deter you. The second one would be a price drop if possible. So if you do have room for a price drop, consider it. Start at the right price from the beginning, because the first 48 hours on Zillow are super crucial. The third one would be a move-in incentive, such as a summer special, move-in credit, whatever is in your budget. Fourth one is advertise outside the box. It's also really important, like using TikTok. And another one that we didn't get too into is paid advertising. So, you know, sometimes in order to make money, you gotta
Spend money.
So if that's hiring somebody that could do it for you, or doing paid ads on Google or any kind of social media platform, it's also really great.
That is just absolutely great. Angie, thank you so much. And when Angie and First Rate talk about doing a price drop if possible, the number one step in that is knowing and recognizing the market. And so because you're here in this room or on Zoom, you are already doing that. So you know if you're on the high side of market rents, considering the saturation that we're experiencing and the higher vacancy and the decrease in migration that we're experiencing. Angiee, AVID Investors, thank you so much.